Hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media, and in today's video we're going to discuss the process of releasing a single, album, otherwise music project, and marketing it. If you enjoy this video, consider supporting me on Patreon for exclusive perks including project file downloads, tools for your creative process, early access to videos, and more. Click on the card in the upper right hand corner for more information. Before we get started, I thought I'd mention I've compiled all the tips from this video as well as several other tips for a total of 50 tips in an awesome PDF checklist that you can go through when you're launching your brand, when you're releasing your next single, and it covers all of the things that I do and basically everything I could think of to promote a song. If you want to download that PDF, check it out below. It's available to patrons of the channel. The link will be in the description below. If you're unfamiliar with my music career outside of this YouTube channel, I've released music with and strategized releases for some of the biggest record labels in my genre: progressive house, electro, trance, techno, including Deadmau5's Mousetrap, Anjuna Beats by Above and Beyond, Tritonal's Enhanced, and Monster Cat Silk. And the tips we're going to cover in this video are going to be a lot of the things that I've learned over the years working with some of these labels, as well as things that I've found to work and things that I'm passionate about and things that make me fall in love with new artists and their music. We're going to get into what I like to call a release package, or some people call a asset folder, for my brand new record Air with 28mm forts, released on Enhanced Music a little bit later in this video. But for now, let me take a step back and let's think about what makes you interested in music, what makes you fall in love with music, and maybe the current state of music as it stands in 2021. So nowadays, the average listener is not buying music, that's for sure. And the way music is consumed because of it has changed a lot since the early 2000s, the 90s, and basically every era before that. Instead of looking forward to music as a product, we are now shifting our focus onto music as a trendsetter, or as a vibe setter, or as a feeling or emotional support to a situation. I'm sure you've run into this where you go somewhere and somebody puts on a lo-fi for dinner playlist or a jazz in the background playlist on Spotify. And that's just how a lot of average listeners who aren't music enthusiasts like you and I listen to music now. And that's just the fact of the matter. Some of you who are watching this video might have experienced this phenomenon where your song gets placed in a playlist, gets thousands or millions of streams, and you don't see any sort of brand growth from it. And I think that's due to this phenomenon that I just described. The way we consume music in 2021 is very different from previous generations. You can have a playlist with 2 million followers and 100 artists in the playlist, and somebody listens to the playlist every day, and it sets the tone or the vibe of the room, and they don't know a single artist name on the playlist. That's pretty commonplace now. And the trick to building a artist profile or releasing a single successfully and breaking out of this trap of, I have 1 million streams maybe, but nobody actually cares about my project, is building a world and a compelling story around your brand or album or even a single. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. If you think about some of your favorite artists, maybe the more prolific ones, what is a common trait between them all? They all have a very recognizable story. They have a very recognizable theme to their music. Maybe not an overarching theme like someone like Porter Robinson, where he has this overarching story to everything he does, but maybe on an album by album basis or a single by single basis. Think about Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. That's tonally based in drama between the band members. People fell in love with that record not only for the music, but the story behind it. The sarcastic and witty nature of Deadmau5 is a huge proponent to his success and the validity of his brand. The mouse head in and of itself is ironic when he takes it off on stage. The key to building a brand that lasts the test of time, instead of building a one-hit wonder or a artist that is only viable or relevant for a year or two, is that world building, that storytelling, and making somebody care beyond just listening to the song, which is insanely important in 2021 in a world where nobody actually listens to music to listen to music anymore. We're all listening for other alternative reasons. Think about how you discovered your newest favorite artist. I almost guarantee it, unless you're a music connoisseur like me or many other music enthusiasts, that you discover that artist through something like a music video, a blog, a interview with the artist. They posted something cool and you found them, and then it compelled you to check out their music. You have to, in 2021, I think, build a world around whatever it is you're doing. You can't just release a song, put it on SoundCloud, and expect it to go viral anymore. It's just not how it works anymore. You have to tell a compelling narrative. So next up, we're going to look at one of my release packages with some of the things that I put together to try to build a world around my latest release. And maybe this can inspire some ideas of your own, add a little bit something extra to your next single release or even your overarching brand to make it more compelling, engaging, and emotional to listeners or potential listeners that might fall into your brand in the future. So from this point, let's jump on my computer and check out the release package, I like to call it, for my latest single, Air. Okay, so we are now on my Mac, and we can now see this folder I've brought up in Finder here, Julian Gray X 28mm featuring Forts Air. And this is a folder that contains everything that is the lifeblood of Air. It has the song in there, it has the lyric video, it has a variety of other things we're going to go through. And like I said in the beginning of this video, there's a lot more that you can do than we did for this record, and all of those things will be featured in that PDF linked down in the description. So let's go ahead and start things off with the song itself. I think that that's the most important thing. So we're going to go into our asset folder, and let's check out this folder we have here. It's called Masters, and this is, the bare bones baseline of your record. I think it's important to consider how people will consume the music. If you're a DJ or you're writing electronic music that has a DJ focus, it's a good idea to create multiple versions of the song. You don't want to have a 9-minute song that is the only version of the song that, it's designed for DJ playability, but the average listener has to listen to 1.5 minutes of drums and intro before they get into the song. You want to break out the record into separate versions so that you have a version for everybody and in every occasion. So as you can see here, I have it broken down into several different things. We have an instrumental mix for things like sync, or if we use it for an advertisement, if we use it for a video, if we put it in the background of a vlog that we're creating like this. You need something like an instrumental mix that, you won't hear the vocal overlapping with the rest of the material. We have an extended mix. This is that aforementioned DJ version, the club version, if you're making club music. And these are all things that obviously you have to treat with a grain of salt. If you're not writing progressive house or club-centric music, you might not need an extended mix. But some of your listeners might appreciate this extended mix. There's an instrumental edit with nothing but the instrumentation and no vocal, just like the extended instrumental. And then, of course, you have your radio edit, which is the typical edit that most people will hear. 3 minutes long, 2.5 minutes long, 1.5 minutes long, like, a lot of pop stars are doing now. And generally, you keep it short so that people will stream it more. If you have a song that's 1.5 minutes, they're going to want to listen to it again if they like the song, because they didn't get quite enough of it after 1.5 minutes. So main takeaway from this is that you can create multiple versions of the song and release them for different contexts. I can think of a few more here. Again, I listed them in the PDF in the description. You can have an acoustic edit. You can have a vocal-only edit, a cappella. You can release the official a cappella for remixing. Just a lot of things that you can do to create more interest, intrigue, and otherwise value for the song. So once I have the song finished, that's obviously the first step. We want to build the visual world around the song. Now for this record, this was released through a label that has a template. It's called a pack shot, when every release on the record label has the same theme. But I wanted to make sure that it matched the color palette we had in mind for Air. And when we heard the song, and when me and Christian wrote the song and Mary Claire wrote that incredible top line to it. It gave us this really indie, muted, dark kind of feeling. And we wanted to reflect that in the art. So what we did was we went on Pinterest. We put together a list of some of our favorite pieces that reminded us of the song. We listened to the song, go on Pinterest, just pin a bunch of stuff. You don't have to use Pinterest. You can download stuff and just build an art board, it's called, and then try to get a sense of how your song looks. This is really important because you build a lot of the other assets based on that. So we went to the label and we landed on this. This is a muted blue and black cover art, kind of matched our intentions and our energy for the song. But before we got the cover art completed, we presented that same artboard to our friend Jamie, who is an incredible photographer. You should go check him out. I'll put his link on the screen right now. And we did some press shots with him. So this is crucial because when you're an artist, you have to have a certain look about you. You have to have a certain quality to the images that you post around the music. And we sent him that artboard, and we went into this knowing, this is what we want Air to look like. And we went on location and shot some photos that look like that artboard. And as you can see, this is like bare bones, but we're building an art style around the record. This is what the record looks like. So when somebody scrolling on Instagram sees a photo like this, they can get a gist for, oh, this is the vibe of the record. This is what Air looks like. And it might catch their eye. I think a compelling art style is one of the most important things for a record. So that's what I approached next. And then, of course, based on the color palettes that we took in these photos, we built that cover art that we described earlier. The next crucial element to releasing a single or album or EP or what have you, I think, is a great video. A lot of people don't care about photos. They don't care about the music. It's very hard to get people to listen to music initially. You ever think about that? Like, if you're scrolling on Instagram and there's an ad for a musician and the ad kind of sucks, you're not going to go out of your way to click on that Spotify link. If you're on Spotify, you're not compelled to click on the music. It's very hard to get that first listen. You can convert somebody into a fan upon the first listen, but it's hard to get that first listen. So you have to convince them to listen that first time with good art. And that's your press shots. That's your cover art. And I think most crucially, your videos. So for Air, we did, a series of videos. We had some advertisements that we made. And, with a decent DSLR and some creativity, you can come up with some cool stuff like this with, that and maybe some stock footage or basic video editing skills. This is what we landed on. So, our motion graphics weren't too complicated. I think we used some, stock animations or something. We got some footage of the skyline with my camera just shaking around, and we used some, videos that we recorded. We had a friend of ours who, does some analog video manipulation and ran the whole video through their system so that it added a little bit more intrigue than just a dry video. And it's things like that. You have to use the resources that you have to create as much content as you can to promote the record. I think that building that world and building that, that tone and that theme is crucial to making a compelling song. And one thing to say is I actually built this ad off of the pre-existing lyric video. So we can actually look at that here. And the lyric video is actually the first thing we worked on based on the artboard and based on the photo shoot that we did. Okay, so for some reason the lyric video isn't playing. You can check it out on YouTube. But again, it's just more of that same advertisement. It's a very cool video that I think catches the eye and puts you into the world of Air, this indie, dark, kind of sporadic world. Okay, so we have other videos too. We have announcement videos for each artist. These are little teasers for Instagram or what have you. again, built off of the same assets from the lyric video. And I think once you build a really solid art style, it's not hard to add to it. If you know that this is what a record looks like, you can go on Google and find images that look like that and, ingest them and build out an art style. But I think the trick is finding that base art style. What I encourage you to do is just listen to your record and really try to think about what it looks like so that, when you hear it, you have that visual in your mind. We have some other videos here, like we have the Spotify canvas, for the background on Spotify. When you listen to it on Spotify, you'll see that. We have some other stuff here too, like social media support video. It's just me talking about the record and all of the accolades that it pulled off. Just creating as much content as possible around the record. This is a performance video where I'm playing the record out. It's a little edited. And, this is gold for posting on social media. We have an Out Now teaser, and, it's just all about building content around that world that you describe. I did individual video story countdowns so that if you're watching on Instagram, you know that the record is coming out soon. So I could go all day on all of the individual content that we created for this record, but rather than do that, I think I just want to impose on you the idea of, be creative. Try to think of as many ideas as you can to build this world and things that pertain into the world that you're building for the record. For our case, it's this very indie and dark and sporadic and quick moving world. What can we add to this? Could we add like a video of our camera shaking in the skyline? Could we add like a video of the sky at night with like the moon? What fits into that art style and what tells the story of the record? And then you can build assets around that. There are some, really obvious ones: music videos, lyric videos, Spotify playlists, a playlist of music that is similar to the record that you're promoting or the album you're promoting, or you build a playlist of songs that remind you of the album. And I think that once you think about music instead of, a song release as a big package, a project, a story that you're unveiling with the music as only a piece of it, it becomes easier to reach people. It's easier to engage them. It's hard to make people care about just a song with a static cover art, but as soon as you start doing, advertisements, you start doing acoustic videos of the song, or you make a really compelling lyric video or music video, then people start to care, because then you're telling a compelling story and they want to hear about that story. They want to understand the world of, let's say, air in this circumstance, and maybe it permeates past that world, and then it, becomes, I care about you as an artist and I care about your progression. Think about your favorite artists. You may have found them through, an inkling, an interview on YouTube, then discovered a song that you really liked, and that song became an EP, and then that EP became the discography, and now you're a fan or a super fan of that artist, and you listen to everything that they put out. It all has to start somewhere, and the more things you put out there in the world of your record, in the world of the single, in the world of the album, or in the world of you or your brand, the more chances you have to convert people into that world. And then once you have all of your content ready, a big folder, a big sea of content that pertains to the record, that all lives within the world of the record, then you start strategizing. You say, I'm going to release this video to tease the record. I want it to get people excited for the art style, to get people interested in the narrative I'm trying to tell with the song. And then you say, I want to put that out a week before, and then the week of, maybe do a countdown to the release. Put that all on a calendar. And then once the release is out, you schedule what's happening afterwards. When is the music video coming out? When is the lyric video coming out? Are you touring the record? Are you going to do a live performance video of the record? And having all of that on a calendar makes it really easy to know what you're doing and get the best results possible without standing around guessing what you're going to do next. I think that it becomes easy to see when you should put things out or how you should release content when you have the content in front of you. So what I always encourage to my mentees and my students is to build as much content as you can around the record, the album, the brand, the EP, whatever, the release of your entire music project. And then once you have the content in hand, you can decide how to use it. I have a picture of me and I look really mysterious. Now that I have this picture, I can figure out what day to post it on that most effectively tells the story. But you have to have that content first. Doesn't matter how long this takes. I'm sure that you've realized as a musician, if you're watching this video, if you just stick a song out there into the void, nobody's going to click on it. Nobody's going to listen to it, or at least you're severely diminishing the amount of people that will care or will form an emotional bond if you're not building a world around that record. So I encourage you to try these ideas on your own. Build that world around your next single, album, EP, music project release, and use every creative avenue at your disposal to make that world really enticing and emotionally engaging for people to listen to. This might not be the video you're looking for. You might be looking for, let me release this on this day and then this on the next day to maximize my playlist streams. But I think that more importantly than any sort of growth hack or anything like that is trying to tell an engaging narrative that makes people care about you, your music, and all the projects you work on. So that's all the advice I have to offer in this video. Again, if you want to check out the full list of tips, all of the things that I do for a release, click on the link in the description and check that out for yourself. I'm Julian of Julian Gray Media. If this video helped you out and if you learned something from it, give the video a like. Let me know in the comment section some of your favorite ways to promote music or any art project for that matter. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.